You ever rent a duplex off Craigslist for cheap and think, this is too good to be true? Yeah. That was me, Christopher. 28, graphic designer, part-time pizza guy, full-time idiot apparently. I didn't know I was moving in next to a woman with green hair, glowing skin, and aggressive interest in my DNA. Literally. Her name was Amara. The first time I saw her, she was crawling on the front lawn like she lost a contact. Turns out she was just tracking scent trails like a space raccoon in heat. That's when I realized something wasn't normal. And by the time I was tying her to a chair with duct tape while she hissed in an alien tongue and told me mating season had begun, I knew I was in way over my head, and I couldn't call the cops. You know how bad it looks when a guy calls in, yes, I've got a glowing green woman tied up in my living room. She's not human, but it's consensual. I think. Yeah. I didn't call. I turned on the fan, grabbed the tequila, and tried not to make eye contact. This is the story of how I accidentally got involved with a horny extraterrestrial, and why I still can't look at duct tape the same way. So, a couple months back I was broke, burnt out, and desperate for a place that didn't have roommates playing Call of Duty till 4 a.m. Craigslist had this ad. Cozy duplex, semi-rural, no pets, no parties. $450 per month. Seemed shady, but I clicked. Photos showed a decent-looking place. Wooden floors, weird angles, kinda rustic. I was sold. I moved in on a Thursday. Friday evening, I met Amara. Or rather, she met me by falling through the shared hedge like she was escaping a zoo. She stood up, tall, strange, and mesmerizing. Her hair was green, not dyed, like chlorophyll, and her skin shimmered purple under the sunset. I blinked. She stared. Hi, I said. She tilted her head. You emit strong reproductive pheromones. I choked on my bottled water. What now? I figured she was some Burning Man escapee with a cosplay addiction. But nope, she really meant it. She was scanning me like a heat map and sniffing like a cat near catnip. Saturday, things got weirder. I came home and found a bundle of glowing leaves on my doormat. A note said, for union readiness, cook before ritual. I didn't cook it. I Googled it. 0 hits, unless you count a Reddit thread on alien food fetishes. By Sunday, she was showing up uninvited, like literally crawling across the backyard in daylight, then tapping my window whispering, Christopher, it is nearly time. I thought maybe it was a prank, some YouTube gotcha show. Then she hissed at a squirrel and made it run into a tree. No prank, just alien chaos. When I finally sat down with her to ask what the hell was going on, she answered like it was obvious. I am Zarnik born. My mating season is brief. You are suitable. Very fertile. I'm a barista with commitment issues. You will adapt. Now, I'm not saying she was unattractive. She looked like a fantasy video game character crossed with a fever dream. But the intensity, it was like being a frog in a microwave. Everything seemed chill till it suddenly wasn't. The last straw? She licked my doorbell. Yes, licked it. Left slime. I had to wipe it down while making eye contact. So I did what any responsible adult would do. I tried to ghost her. Turned off the lights. Ignored the knocks. But one night, I heard a scraping sound at my back door. I opened it and, bam! Amara fell forward, sweaty, glowing like a lava lamp, muttering, "It begins now." Thus began the most awkward, hilarious, and oddly emotional week of my life. And trust me, this is just the beginning. I was living in denial. I thought maybe if I ignored her long enough, she'd return to whatever green-haired galaxy spawned her. But Amara didn't just knock. She stalked. First came the late-night tapping at the windows, then the humming, then the howling. Yes, howling. Like a mix between a husky and a dial-up modem from 2004. It was 2 a.m. I was eating cereal in boxer shorts when I heard it. Low, vibrating, echoing through the walls like my duplex was haunted by a horny foghorn. I peered outside. She was standing in my backyard, glowing. Again. I opened the door halfway. Can we not do this tonight? I've got work in the morning. She tilted her head. I sense resistance. That's Arousing. Lady, I'm flattered, really? But I just want to finish my Fruit Loops and go to bed without being abducted or mounted. She took a step closer. Christopher, you must understand. My biology is not a choice. The season chooses me. Okay, but can the season pick a more emotionally available neighbor next time? She sniffed the air. You smell like cinnamon and shame. I'm eating cereal. What do you want from me? I closed the door and leaned against it like I was holding off a hurricane. I texted my best friend Josh. Bro, my neighbor is literally glowing and trying to breed. Like WTF do I do? Is this a lawsuit or a sci-fi original? Josh responded with a gif of a cat wearing a tinfoil hat. Thanks, Josh. The next day, I went to the local grocery store to clear my head and maybe stock up on garlic or alien repellent. I was halfway down the produce aisle when I heard someone whisper, Christopher, these bananas resemble mating appendages. I turned. There she was, Amara, in aisle 5, holding 2 bananas like they were sacred artifacts. Put those down, I hissed. People are staring. They should. This is a sacred phase in my cycle. It's Walmart. There's no such thing as sacred here. She leaned in. You came here to forage. So did I. Oh my God, you're serious. A kid nearby pointed at her glowing skin and said, Mommy, why is that lady sparkling? Amara gave the kid a slow wink. Because I am ripe. We left immediately. That night, I locked everything. Doors, windows, even the mailbox. Didn't matter. She got in through the laundry vent. I walked into the kitchen and nearly dropped my sandwich. There she was, perched on the counter, sniffing my peanut butter jar. Your pantry is rich in caloric mating fuel. I raised both hands. Okay. We need to talk. She blinked. I am ready for the ritual. You may use restraints if necessary. Lady, you need restraints. You broke into my house through a dryer vent like a freaky alien raccoon. She nodded slowly. Raccoons are resilient. I like that. That's when I snapped. Not in an angry way, in a desperate sitcom character kind of way. Amara, I don't know how you do things on planet Lust a lot, but on Earth, we don't tie up our neighbors and ask about bananas in public. She looked genuinely confused. Then what do you do? We go on dates. We talk. We awkwardly avoid eye contact for 2 weeks. We text things like, WID, at 2 a.m. and ghost each other. She tilted her head again. I see. Slow burn psychological warfare. Exactly. Amara paused, thoughtful. Then perhaps I require training. Oh no. Don't make this weird. She smiled. Too late. The next day I bought duct tape. But not for what you think. I taped shut every possible crawl space in the house. And then, for good measure, I bought a giant dog crate. And earplugs. None of it worked. She found me hiding in the bathtub, fully clothed, holding a tennis racket. She smiled sweetly and said, Christopher, it's time for phase 2. I'll never forget the moment I realized I was in a relationship without consent. Mine. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning that feels like a lukewarm wet sock, cloudy skies, dead phone battery, and I was brushing my teeth while reading a Reddit thread titled, How to Politely Decline Alien Mating Rituals. And I wasn't the only one struggling. My sink was glowing. I kid you not, glowing. It had slime trails. Amara had been there again, marking her territory like a cosmic golden retriever. She had apparently rubbed her face on my towels, my fridge, and, I can't believe I'm saying this, my ergonomic office chair. It was time for an intervention. It started with a list. Block all entry points. Again. Get professional help. No therapist would take this case. Talk to her. Like really talk. Improvise restraint if necessary. That's how I ended up in aisle 14 of Home Depot, buying duct tape, bungee cords, zip ties, and a book called Not Tying for Beginners. The cashier gave me a long, slow look. Camping trip? She asked. I nodded. Something like that. That night I made tea, sat on the couch, and waited. At exactly 8:47 p.m., my front door creaked open. I didn't even hear the lock turn. I don't have a key for that door. She just walked in, like an Amazon package delivery from hell. She was glowing again, her skin iridescent, pupils like galaxies. Christopher, she said, voice low, sultry, and terrifying. The second wave has begun. I sighed. I was afraid of that. Sit down. She blinked. What? Sit down. She obeyed, perching cross-legged on my rug like a cross between a meditating elf and a predator. I sat opposite her, tea in hand, heart pounding. Amara, we need to have a very human conversation. She nodded solemnly. Are we initiating foreplay? No, we're initiating boundaries. Her eyes narrowed. Resistance play. No, listen, this can't keep happening. I'm a human being. I have needs too. Yes, I've cataloged them. You require coffee, internet access, and occasional solitude during defecation. Wow. Okay, accurate, but creepy. She leaned in. I have studied your patterns. Your hormones spike when I am near. Your heart rate elevates. You perspire. I sweat because you keep showing up uninvited while glowing like a Vegas billboard in heat. She tilted her head. You find me repulsive? No. I mean, look, you're beautiful. But also, you're terrifying. Like if Lana Del Rey was a tiger that could open doors. A silence fell. She looked genuinely hurt. I only wish to connect, she whispered. You are unlike any male I've encountered in the Zarnak quadrant. How many have you encountered? 5. One exploded. One turned to dust. One ran into a lava pit screaming, I regret nothing. You, however, endure. Oh good. I'm the most emotionally stable out of the guys who literally died. She reached out, touched my hand gently. You grounded me, Christopher. You showed me earth things. Cereal. Fuzzy socks. The concept of sarcasm. I almost smiled. She had a point. She was a menace, yes, but also strangely endearing. Like a homicidal cat who just wanted to cuddle. Look, I said. If we're going to survive this, both of us, I need you to cool off for a few days. Take a cold space shower or whatever. Let the season pass. She winced. It won't pass without release. Like a sneeze. No. Like an emotional soul-bonding explosion of mutual energy. That sounds a lot like a sneeze. She stood up. You leave me no choice. I must ascend to phase 3. She reached into her coat, pulled out what I thought was a crystal. It buzzed. Glowed red. What is that? A summoning beacon. If you reject me, my kin will intervene. Amara, wait. It was too late. A pulse of light shot into the sky from her device, and I knew I had to act. Okay, I yelled. Fine, we'll do it. She froze. You agree to the ritual? No, but I agree to, temporarily subdue you. She narrowed her eyes. Subdue. Cut to 10 minutes later. Amara was sitting in a kitchen chair, calm, patient, and completely tied up with duct tape, bungee cords, and, because I ran out of rope, a pair of Christmas lights. Are you comfortable? I asked, sweat pouring down my face. She smirked. Your knots are aesthetically pleasing. I watched a Boy Scout tutorial on YouTube. You tied me like a human turkey. Better than exploding, right? She shrugged. For now. I poured her some herbal tea. She sniffed it. Chamomile. You're trying to sedate me with plant juice. Yep. Welcome to Earth. She sipped it. Tastes like emotional surrender. I sat across from her, exhausted. You know, this might be the weirdest date I've ever been on. She looked up. You see this as a date? No, don't twist that. She smiled slyly. Progress. An hour passed. We talked. Not about space mating. About us. Somehow, the ropes had diffused the tension. Maybe because I wasn't dodging her across the kitchen anymore. She told me about Zarnak. How love worked there. How emotions were exchanged through neural pulses. Not words. We don't date. We connect. Merge. Evolve. You ever try just texting? On Zarnak, we transmit feelings through touch. That explains the shoulder licking. She giggled. Yes. Giggled. It was the first time she didn't look like she was about to devour my soul. You're different, she said. You keep saying that. Is that good? I don't know, but it makes me feel calm. And that's new. I sighed. So, are we cool now? She nodded. For now. But know this, Christopher. If mating season resumes, I cannot guarantee I won't redecorate your bedroom with intergalactic pheromones. I'm installing a security system. She grinned. That night, I let her sleep on my couch, still tied up. For safety, I fell asleep watching Shark Tank with one eye open. At 3:17 a.m., I woke up to see her staring at me from the couch, still bound. You snore, she said softly. You terrify me. I think I like that. Morning came. We had breakfast. I made pancakes. She asked if syrup was an aphrodisiac. I said no. She said, it is now. And just when I thought things were finally winding down, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Outside stood 3 glowing figures. Tall, elegant, more green hair. One was holding a clipboard. Greetings, the tallest one said. We've come to evaluate the bond. The what? He pointed to Amara, who was sitting on my couch sipping coffee from a Bob Ross mug. She marked you. She initiated. Yeah, I noticed. You tied her. Submission confirmed. Now you must complete phase 4, which is ceremonial acknowledgement. You are now her mate consort. My jaw dropped. Dude, I just made pancakes. That's it. That's not marriage. It is on Zarnak. Amara beamed. I passed out. You ever wake up to find 3 aliens in your living room, sipping your coffee, critiquing your carpet, and explaining how your casual interaction with a glowing extraterrestrial is legally recognized as an intergalactic soul bond? No? Just me? Cool. I woke up on the floor, disoriented, to the sound of soft chanting and the scent of burning lavender. Or maybe it was molten alien pheromones. Either way, it stung my nose. Amara was still beaming, glowing faintly like a proud house cat who just brought home a dead bird. Her 3 kin were arranging glowing stones on my coffee table and asking very politely if I had a ceremonial basin. I offered them a salad bowl. They accepted. So, I croaked, rubbing my temples. Let me get this straight. Because I didn't run, scream, or melt into powder. I'm now what? Space married. The tall one, who introduced himself as Zarnak Attaché for mating compliance, nodded. By participating in the ritual of restraint and emotional exchange, you've fulfilled the requirements. I duct-taped her to a chair and gave her tea. Exactly. Restraint, nourishment, bonding. That's not a date. That's a hostage situation with chamomile. The 3rd alien chimed in, voice smooth like jazz. The council will be most pleased. You've tamed the fierce one. I glanced at Amara. She gave me a shy little wave, her hair glowing like seaweed in sunlight. I told them you were special. Amara? I whispered through gritted teeth. Did you plan this? Define plan. Did you tell your people I was going to be your space husband? Christopher, she said. You tied me to a chair. That's pretty serious on my planet. Fair point. I tried to protest, really, but it was hard to argue when one of the aliens handed me a ceremonial sash. Another drew a glowing symbol on my forehead, and Amara started humming what sounded suspiciously like a wedding theme in D minor. You'll adjust, she said sweetly. You've already begun the transformation. What transformation? She pointed to my arms. I looked down. There were faint streaks, barely visible but glowing, tracing along my forearms, like ink under the skin. Those are soul marks, she said. Indicators of compatibility. They appear only in true bonds. I blinked. I thought I was having a stress rash. I needed air. I stepped outside, into the yard. My yard. Or at least it used to be. Now it was full of landing pods. Dozens. All glowing. All humming. All full of them. Dozens of Amaras. Or her kind anyway. Tall, luminous, beautiful, and deeply unsettling. Like the cast of a Calvin Klein ad mixed with a sci-fi cult. A very tall one approached me. Her voice was low and resonant. You are the chosen one? God, I hope not. You bonded with Amara, the Alpha. Wait, she's the Alpha? She is the first daughter of Zarnak's High Matron. Her bond activates the Nexus Protocol. Okay, listen, I said, backing up. I don't want to activate anything. I just wanted cheap rent and a place without roommates who microwave fish at midnight. A pause. The tall alien reached out and gently touched the mark on my arm. Pulsed. Glowed brighter. Oh crap, I muttered. She has chosen well. By evening, my duplex had been transformed into a full-blown alien bridal suite. There were glowing vines hanging from the ceiling, crystals in every corner, and a ceremonial orb floating in my kitchen, broadcasting soft harmonic vibrations that made my fridge hum in tune. Josh came by to check on me. He stepped inside, took one look around, and said, Bro, what the hell happened? Is this a cult? Kind of, I muttered. He blinked. Are those floating candles? And a disco ball made of meteorite fragments? Yes. And is that a space woman licking your toaster? I looked over. Amara. Stop that. She smiled. It warms me. Josh turned to me. Dude, you have got to move. I tried. I'm bonded now. What does that mean? It means if I leave, I implode. Oh, pause. Josh nodded. That's heavy. You think. Josh clapped me on the shoulder. Well, if you need a best man at your cosmic wedding, I got you. Later that night, when the others left and Amara was curled up on the couch watching Friends reruns, she claimed Chandler Bing reminded her of a Zarnak war jester. I finally got the courage to ask, why me? She didn't look at me right away. You didn't run, she said simply. Even when I was glowing. Even when I was terrifying. I was just too stunned to move. But you stayed. I sat down beside her. She leaned against me, warm and soft, a weird comforting hum in her skin. I didn't mean to fall for you. It was supposed to be temporary. A seasonal thing. I once dated someone because they liked the same taco place. This is a little more intense. She smiled. You made me laugh. You licked my walls. Cultural difference. Then, just as I started to think, hey, maybe I can live like this, my front door flew open again. A new figure entered. He was human, or mostly, wore a suit, had a badge. Christopher Reynolds? Yeah, I'm Agent Merrick, Earth Relations. We've been monitoring your property. You what? He stepped inside, glaring at the floating orb. You triggered an intergalactic soul contract. That's not legal under Earth law. We're going to have to renegotiate. I blinked. Wait, so you knew about this species? He nodded. Of course. We just didn't expect them to choose you. Gee, thanks. He looked at Amara. Miss, I'm going to have to ask you to. But before he could finish, the entire room went dark. The orb pulsed. A low frequency hummed in the walls. Amara stood up slowly. I will not be taken from my mate. Okay, I whispered. This just got very Romeo and Juliet. Galactic Edition. Agent Merrick stepped back, sweating. We can work something out. Amara's eyes glowed. He stays, or no one stays. I looked between them, and that's when it hit me. I wasn't the only one changed by this bond. She had changed too. She wasn't stalking me anymore. She was protecting me. And somewhere between duct tape and soul marking, we had actually become partners. So I stood up beside her. Look, I said, I didn't ask for this, but it happened. And if she's staying, then I am too. Agent Merrick blinked. You do realize this makes you an ambassador to the Zarnak people, right? I sighed. Can I still order pizza? Yes, but only with diplomatic clearance. Good enough. So yeah, that's the story. I rented a duplex, met a glowing alien during mating season, tied her to a chair. Now I'm the interplanetary bridge between Earth and Zarnak, and I share a Netflix account with my space wife. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing, except maybe the part where she tried to nest in my laundry hamper. But hey, love is weird. especially when it's from another planet.